Good, pause YouTube. How's it going, everybody? Happy guys. Today, a Wi-Fi battle that I had against ZombieZen off of my Discord, which is where I mainly take battles for those of you who are wondering. Also, I have mentioned before I will be getting back into streaming, which is where I will also be taking battles if you guys would ever like to come out to a stream and take some battles. So this is a really cool team that I think I used in a previous battle that was based around Specs Hydriegon with a max HP offensive SD not mega scissor but regular scissor. So if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer arm that like button down below. So going into this game, Hydriegon was going to be an absolutely terrifying mon to deal with, mainly because I don't really have too safe of a switch into it, and then SD Scizor could be very scary late game if I lose my Infernape, and if I do lose my Infernape, then the Amoonguss also becomes a huge problem. So I'm going to be leading off with my Scarfed Infernape, thinking that maybe he would end up leading off with this Hydreigon, but he actually ends up leading off with the Empoleon, which I can straight knock out with the close combat, you know, unless he was physically defensive, which apparently it turns out that he is, because that's the only way Empoleon lives this close combat, because if he was Spadef bulky, it's just a straight Oko, and he's going to end up getting up his rocks, which is slightly annoying. I was hoping to be able to knock him out before he got up his rocks, but it's not that big of an issue, as I will be able to switch into my Hydreigon here. I honestly thought that he was going to try to bring in his Amoonguss, thinking that I would just go for the close combat again, but if I did leave in Infernape to close combat the Empoleon, he then might have been able to get a free switch into the Amoonguss if he thought that I was choiced in some way, and still got off a Spore, which is mainly why I switched here into Hydreigon, hoping to catch the Amoonguss. But I get caught with the Scald Burn, which is a little bit annoying, because now this puts my Hydreigon on a timer. Hydreigon was also one of my ways to deal with Amoonguss, because again, I am choice spec, so I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to the Amoonguss, sorry, as he ends up bringing in his own Hydreigon. I don't have a switch into this, so I'm just going to leave in my own Hydreigon here on the off chance that maybe he did over predict. As he does go for the flamethrower, he gets rewarded by critting me, which is really bad, because now my Hydreigon only has one potential switch in to Stealth Rocks, and that sucks. So I decide to switch out here, I believe, into my Rotom Wash. In hindsight, I really had no reason to switch. Like, this was just a dumb play on my part. I could have honestly just stayed in and gone for the Dark Pulse again, which is what I should have done, because he does make a good double out here into his Amoonguss, maybe thinking that I wouldn't be locked into Dark Pulse on the off chance that I did go for Draco with Hydreigon, which does make sense on his part, as I'm going to just go for the Volt Switch this turn. Unfortunately, I don't have anything on my team that really wants to be put to sleep, so I'm just going to switch into my Hydreigon here, which I know is going to fall after rocks and the burn damage because of the crit and the burn that Hydreigon did suffer in this battle. So unfortunately, I lose one of my ways of dealing with this Amoonguss, and now this thing is looking like a huge problem, because depending on his EV spread, he can actually live a Flare Blitz. So on the off chance that he was a Spadef bulky set, I want to hopefully force him out and then try to gain momentum by going for the U-turn here, but he stays in again, and I don't know why I don't agree with this play, but I mean, it works out for him, because now I have to choose something on my team to be put to sleep, and I don't have a grass type. So at this point, Rotom is kind of the least helpful team member that I have, realistically looking at this matchup at this point. So if anything, it's the best thing on my team to be put to sleep. That way I can not have to worry about Amoonguss putting something else to sleep later in this battle. So I'm going to stay in here, scouting out to see if he would want to go for the Hidden Power Fire on the off chance that I felt aggressive and switched into my Scizor, but he just ends up going for the Giga Drain, which means he may not have the HP Fire, or he's just trying to conceal it so he can then pop it on my Scizor later in this matchup. So because he did go for the Giga Drain, I'm thinking he's probably going to go for it again, or he's going to go for the Hidden Power Fire this turn, trying to catch my Scizor, because I don't expect him to want to go for the Sludge Bomb on the off chance that I can just safely switch into my Scizor. But he makes the play of going for the Sludge Bomb, which is not a bad play at all. This was actually a pretty solid play on his part to do, because again, it is a little bit risky for me to switch directly into my Scizor on the off chance that he does go for the Hidden Power Fire there, so it didn't really cost him too much by going for the Sludge Bomb, as I will just Mega Evolve here, and I'm just going to go for the safe Flamethrower, because typically Manectric can't really do anything to Amoonguss, as he's going to switch into his Hydreigon. I thought that he would definitely make this play, but I still just felt like being safe and going for the Flamethrower. Plus, as you can see, Flamethrower still does a decent little bit of chip to the Hydreigon, and I end up getting a burn. I guess it's payback, but I don't really think me burning him ends up mattering entirely too much, to be honest, as he's just going to go for the flamethrower here. I believe he actually ends up knocking me out. Yeah, as down goes my Manectric. This does, however, give me a free switch into my Infernape, which after the flamethrower damage should have put him in range of where U-turn should be able to knock him out, so I can at least get rid of this giant threat. And now I only have to worry about the potential SD Scizor and potentially about the Amoonguss. So I'm going to go ahead, get up out of here after I'm able to knock him out, and I believe I end up bringing in my Crocodile if I'm not mistaken, because if anything I can maybe bait him to want to bring in the Amoonguss, and then I can go for the knockoff, getting off a decent amount of damage, finding out if he's physically defensive or especially defensive, and just getting overall chip damage on the Amoonguss, as he actually ends up bringing in the Scizor here. This is very terrifying, because if this is Swords Dance, he potentially just wins here, but turns out that he's banded. As he goes for the U-turn, I will be able to just barely survive, and I'm gonna be able to chip him down a little bit more. Now this is really excellent, because at this point Scizor is looking like it could possibly win me the battle. The only way that my own Scizor will not win me the game at this point is if he has Fire Fang on this Aerodactyl, or if he has Hidden Power Fire on Amoonguss. And because I still have my Rotom Wash asleep, he can't Spore my Scizor and stop me from setting up potentially. So I'm just gonna sack off my Crocodile here at this point. I believe I was gonna get knocked out by rocks anyways, plus I can get off a little bit of chip damage on this Aerodactyl, sorry, as I end up bringing in my Scizor here. I'm just hoping and praying that he does not have the Fire Fang, or that he's gonna switch out fearing me being choice banded, and that I can knock him out with the Bullet Punch, as he actually does switch into his Scizor as potential death fodder. I do get up a Swords Dance here. Now I thought about going for a second Swords Dance to be a +4, but the issue with that is that if he is a physically defensive Amoonguss, he lives a +4 Bullet Punch, and then he's gonna be able to knock me out with the Hidden Power Fire after I had taken another hit from the Scizor. So by going just for one Swords Dance, I can 2 KO the Amoonguss before he can 2 KO me with HP Fire. So I'm able to knock out a Scizor, in comes the Amoonguss. The match literally comes down to this turn on whether or not he has HP Fire. As I go for the Bullet Punch, turns out that he's specially defensive. Not only is he specially defensive, but he does not have the Hidden Power Fire, which is excellent, because now I will be able to ensure knocking out this Amoonguss next turn, and then I will also be able to finish off his Aerodactyl and his Weavile that he has in the back. So I'm able to knock out the Amoonguss here, and he's just going to send in his last 2 mons as death fodder. If you look at this matchup more closely, it's really a lot closer than a 3-0 sweep, because at this point I had to put myself in a position of where I could basically ensure that Scizor gave me a chance to win this battle, which I would have just lost this battle if he had Fire Fang on his Aerodactyl and he stayed in, or if he had Hidden Power Fire on the Amoonguss in general, and that might have been really bad, because Infernape can't lock itself into one move that guarantees knocking out both Weavile and Aerodactyl, and then I had to sleep in Rotom Wash in the back. So yeah, thought this was still a pretty good game. So good game to ZombieZen. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and make sure to hammer arm that like button down below if you did. And with that being said, I will see you all tomorrow on Thursday. So later everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion, but when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.